What I'm catching is that we're going to see a lot of the same lineup choices that we've seen before. The only thing that's up for discussion, apparently, is the front three. Now, I think we could sit here and say that Pulisic and Timo Weah are going to be locks. Why would you take them out? Why is there any reason to take them out? Unless you felt like they had some type of injury concern. Maybe there's some yellow card concern, but I don't even know if yellow cards even play into it. You just want to win the game and get out of the group and figure it out from there. So really, for me, it's just the number 9. Do you go with Haji Wright? Do you go with Josh Sargent?
No.
Or do you go with the player that I think is probably the best at creating his own shot, and that is Jesus Ferreira? At this point, it seems like there might be some method to the madness in terms of their strikers and what they thought and how it was going to play out. We're going to see a low block from Iran. They only need a draw. They seem like they're up for this one in particular. I think that for better or for worse, we gave them some bulletin board material, and whether they want to use it or not, Croatia used it to great effect against Canada last night. I don't think it's as severe. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. But I just think that we're going to see a very similar lineup. So that's really all I'm hearing, and everybody's been pretty positive, and they're ready to go. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, or who you'd like to see in that number 9, given our opponent, but
I'm curious,
Jimmy. I kind of want to see Jesus Ferreira.
I'm curious, Jimmy. I know it makes sense to have qualities of a player like Jesus Ferreira, someone who can, drop in, try and pull some center backs with him, create some space for himself. But he hasn't played in any of the 2 matches. In the past 2 months, he hasn't been effective for FC Dallas. So how does that go into this match? Is it, man, we're just hope that he's in form? You hope that he's match fit and sharp, because he's been out for an extended amount of time, and on top of that, hasn't really grabbed the position with both hands, even though we probably all thought he would be getting more playing time than he has.
No, Charlie, you're great. I think that's a great point, and I think it gets back to something that I say a lot, which is hoping players will play well, as opposed to knowing that they're going to play well. And so I guess if that's part of the conversation, then Jesus Ferreira isn't really a logical choice. I would say then it's either Josh Sargent or Haji Wright, and I'd still, though, fall back on, well, which one of those two is the best at creating chances on their own?
Josh Sargent.
One of those two is enough at creating that little half space where, okay, even if it's not a shot, it's creating a passing lane so that if Timo Weah is making a run from outside to in, or Christian Pulisic's coming in, or if they can see that layoff pass to somebody that's running through, that's going to be, or to Weston McKennie, who's skipping into the attacking third.
I mean,
Jimmy, that's the player that we need.
Yeah, I mean, on that though, like I know you're saying Josh Sargent, Charlie, but there were a few moments that I thought Haji Wright was dynamic, right? On the ball, willing to at least take somebody on, try to create an angle for a shot, those types of things. I didn't expect him to do that, period. Right? I thought this guy was going to run channels and that was about it. But he did surprise me in some of those ways that I do think that he's capable of getting involved and getting into the mix. But you still lean towards Josh Sargent in this case, Charlie.
For me, I didn't see enough from Haji Wright to even be considered for the starting role against Iran. He wasn't dangerous. He didn't show any glimpse to me that would show there's hope in terms of getting on the ball and being proactive and hard runs and pulling defenders out of space. He wasn't doing that. It was almost like, hey, you gotta get going. What are you waiting for? This is England. Josh Sargent at least made runs, hard runs, didn't get the ball most of the time, but made hard runs, had that near post header that came off the outside of the bar that you thought, okay, here it goes. And then the hold up play to get Christian the ball on the build up to the goal. And there was also various moments within the game where the ball was played to him. He either brought it down with his chest, he controlled it and kept it for the team. Those are the moments I can think of where Iran's going to give you the chance to play to your striker. It's on him to hold the ball because someone will come up right behind him and get a chest into him, get a shoulder into him, a forearm. Can he hold the ball up and bring the attacking players into the play? I think he can. But again, I think Timothy Weah would be the best choice for that 9 position, considering he'll stay high. He will keep Iran from bringing the line higher up the field because you're not afraid of Josh Sargent's pace. He's not going to beat you from midfield or just a few yards in. Timothy Weah can. And so when you have that space, he will be able to get behind defenders on quick service if someone wants to cross early, which will be very effective against Iran. We don't have that player. So if you have Timothy Weah there that allows you to bring on Brandon Aronson from the start and bring on Gio Reyna much earlier in the game, let's say the 60th minute, than the 85th minute of the game.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in and say, and this is for everybody in the In Soccer We Trust community, that our resident number 9, Charlie Davies, is very perceptive, because I had people that I trust that were at the game when Haji Wright was starting for us against England, and they were saying a lot of the same things. He just isn't doing enough. He's not being as dangerous as he could be. He's not threatening the back line. He's not pulling them in spaces to open up space for other people. So I agree with
And that was,
Charlie,
Jimmy, by the way, and that was on a day that Weston McKennie was much more connected to that top line, right? When you're against Wales, I thought Sargent was much more isolated and had to figure out more to do.
Agreed.
But in a game like that, where we actually had players trying to go forward, it makes a big difference. Sorry, continue your
No. And the other thing that has been really interesting in this particular World Cup, and I'm watching every single game, so this is a big theme, but super subs, they're coming on and making a difference. And I would argue that that's what hasn't helped us. And it's not necessarily the players, it's what time they're coming on, maybe the situation. And that is where I think we're struggling a bit. I referenced today where Vincent Aboubakar came on for Cameroon. They're down 3-1. Now, Vincent Aboubakar is 31 years old. He's been around. He's got, 90-plus caps for Cameroon. And he comes on in the 55th minute. And now for somebody that's experienced, or even our younger players, you get to sit on the bench and watch for 45, 50 minutes, 55 minutes, and you get to pick up on little things that you're seeing that, hey, if I was in that game, this is what I would do in these situations. I think I can hurt them like this. You have that ability, if you're paying attention and not dicking around on the bench, where you can kind of identify a couple of areas where you can exploit. And I thought Aboubakar probably saw that, and bang, bang, he has a goal and an assist. But if they would have brought him in say, the 75th minute, can he really get into the flow of the game? Can he really try to establish himself in a meaningful way? And that's where I think
much more difficult.
We need to be more thoughtful. Yeah, and obviously the longer the game goes 0-0 against Iran, then that's when that change has to. And even if our team is playing well, it doesn't mean that we can't add another piece to it to just to spice it up a little bit, try to enliven it, just to get that spark that we need.
I will say Cameroon were in a different position. They're down 3-1. Right?
I agree.
It's desperation time. It's now or never. Throw everything. And that plays into the role. Now, for the U.S., you could easily say, hey, we're 0-0 or we're 1-0 down against Iran. We know we have to win. You're taking off a center back. You know that Taremi and Azmoun, maybe Azmoun doesn't even have the legs to do it because he wasn't match fit coming into this, dealing with a calf injury. He's going to give everything he has. But maybe that's not enough. Maybe he doesn't have that much to give. And so you say, hey, we're going to take off one center back, throw on, Gio Reyna early, or take off, whether it's, Brandon Aronson who's not playing well, or one of those defenders, and you're throwing on whether it's Gio Reyna, Brandon Aronson, Josh Sargent, and that's when something can happen. You're playing with two strikers. There's more people, more options, and you need chance creation. That's what this comes down to. We have corner kicks, we have dead balls, set pieces. We're not getting goals off that in this game. That I feel like it's gonna come down to one set piece, one cross. That's how we're gonna win this game. They give you crosses, they give you corner kicks. It's on us, on them, to come up with that magic moment. And we have the players to do it. Weston McKennie, Walker Zimmerman, they do it. They've done it for their clubs. Now they have to do it for this country in these moments.